Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me for Pilates All Level. My name is Audra, and today we're going to use a ball and a TheraBand. If you don't have a ball at home, that's okay. You can fold a pillow a couple times. If you don't have a TheraBand, that's all right. You can just like mime the movements that we'll be doing, just focusing on alignment. Yeah, and with the TheraBand, it doesn't really matter if you have heavier or lighter. It just depends on like what feels great for you. So if you start heavier and you're like, oh, I need a lighter band, no problem. If you start lighter and you're like, I need more, great. Sound good? Ready to get started? Wonderful. As always, don't do anything that doesn't feel right for your body. Let's go ahead and get started with the ball in between our knees as we lie down. And we're just going to get started by breathing and checking in. So bring one hand to your sternum and one hand to your low abs. And just inhale in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And just start to notice which hand is moving, right? So it's not bad necessarily to have that top hand moving. However, that can indicate that maybe we're overusing our secondary respiration muscles, which kick on when we're doing something really high intensity, like running. And lying here in a fairly relaxed position, we should hopefully be able to not overuse them. So see if you can allow your diaphragm and pelvic floor to lower, your transverse abdominis to expand three-dimensionally, and just keep your neck and shoulders nice and relaxed. On your exhale, see about sinking the front of your abs down, just to get a little bit of transverse abdominis activation. And then inhale, allow everything to expand. Now take your hands to the outsides of your ribs. And you can either have your palms against your ribs with your fingers down or fingers up, thumbs down. Either way, I want you to send your breath towards the ground and wide into your palms. And then exhale away from your palms. Let the ribs move. And then again. Two more just like this. Last one. Now slide your hands toward your hip bones, right? They can be on top or on the side. And on your exhale, think about your hip bones pulling away from your hands towards each other. Hopefully you just felt your abs engage, right? Let's do a couple more. On your next one, think about lifting the arch of your foot, squeezing your inner thighs, and pulling your hip bones together. Maybe you just felt more ab engagement. You can also think about your transverse abdominis being like your shrink wrap muscle, right? So I've just got like a hair dryer and I'm aiming it at that muscle that goes all the way around. So it all shrink wraps together. Two more. Last one. Now, relax, and before we really engage, we're just going to let our spine move. So come into your neutral pelvis position. And if your ribs are popped, sink them down just a little bit And we're just going to rock our hips into imprint and neutral a couple times. That's it. Just letting the lower back move, trying to let gravity help you without overusing anything. Now on your next one, before you move, think about sinking your abs down and then using abdominal control to lengthen towards the ground. And then resist gravity a little bit on the way back. And then you can inhale. Let's try that again. Exhale, start to engage and then imprint. Rock back and then inhale. 2 more like that. Trying to lengthen through the front of your thighs. So if you tend to try to grip through your hip flexors, I'd like them to stay as soft as possible. I tend to grip through one of them. So it's kind of necessary for me to kind of dig my fingertips into the muscle to cue it to relax if it's having a day where it's just overly excited about life, right? Now, check out your feet. If they're wide or turned out, I'd like them in line with your sits bones and pointing forward. Go ahead, imprint your spine. Press into your big toe mound, and then peel up into your first bridge. Now at the top of your bridge, check in, right? Is your weight on your neck? Are you lifting from your armpits? Do you feel tension in your low back? If you do, sink your sternum away from your face. Let your hips lower a little, and then tuck your tailbone more. And then melt through your throat, your ribs, your low back, letting the tissue of your back expand. Couple more. Press into your big toe mound to help get you there. You can also press into your hands. And then melt and roll on the way down. Now, if this doesn't feel okay on your knees for any reason, ditch the prop. You can either widen your feet slightly, or you can walk your feet a little bit away from you. It's going to be more hamstring with your feet away. But if that feels better on your knees, that kind of gives you a clue as to what could potentially be a little tight, right? So if wider feels better, your abductors could be a little overactive. If feet away feels better, could be your quads, right? Last one. Good. And then melt all the way down. Interlace your hands behind your head and spiral your elbows forward, thinking about your shoulder blades coming around your ribs. On your exhale, squeeze the prop, come into your chest lift. Head. Now hands can come forward, push them into an imaginary surface, and then come back. And then slowly lengthen back down. Let's do a couple more. Exhale. Hands forward, push into your surface, come back, and slowly lower. Now we've already focused on engaging your abs, right? So I'd like you to start with the engagement before you even move. And then back. Last one. Start with the engagement and then curl. Then come up higher. Good. And slowly lower down. Bring one hand next to you. As you curl, that hand is going to slide forward. Good. Now hold there. Now imagine you want to reach for something that's by your shin. You're going to side bend up and over and then bring it back. Now imagine you have a cute little kitten or puppy curled up in your side. You want to avoid waking them up. And then on the way back, you are lengthening through your spine, right? So we're bending and then we are lengthening our spine back to center. Yeah. Last one. Now hold the length of your spine. We are no longer side bending. Inhale. Exhale, rotate so that opposite armpit can aim for the outside of your thigh and back to center. If when you come back to center, you shifted, you accidentally side bent, right? So imagine that you're a bendy straw, but you're not bending, right? And back. Keeping the opposite hip heavy. You're welcome to take breaks anytime you need to. 3, rib cage is what's moving. Hand does not move. So if your hand is moving, you're side bending, right? Hand stays still. Last one. Come back to center. Head can come down, other side. Ready for excitement? Great. Think about just curling forward. Hold. Now you're reaching for that remote control without waking up the puppy or kitten. And we just side bend. If the hip hikes, whoop, that's okay, but see if you can separate out upper and lower body. Right? Is one side easier than the other? Is one side more exciting than the other? 2 more. Yeah, just a little side bend and then lengthen. Good. Now hold. Now all we're going to do, keep that hand still, rotate so that opposite armpit points towards, yeah. Now as you move, see if your hand is pushing away, right? If it is, see if you can come back to center and then keep it still. We're trying just to go for rotation instead of side bending. It works the muscles differently. A couple more. 2. Last one. Come back, head comes down. Nice job. Go ahead, sway your knees a little bit to one side. They don't have to go all the way down. And then drag them back from your ribs. Allow them to go to the other side. Inhale, exhale, drag them back from your ribs. Again, inhale, exhale. Last one. Now, you can stick with that, or bring your arms to either a goalpost or T position, squeeze the prop, float your knees up to tabletop. You can keep feet apart or squeeze your heels together. Keep your ribs drawing down. Let one hip lift as the other hip lowers. Hold. We're not going very far. It's more about that oblique contraction rather than a big spinal rotation. Yeah, inhale, exhale, use your ribs to drag you back. Other side. And we hold. Hopefully with the hold, you can start to feel which muscles are doing the work, right? If it's your back, see about a little tuck. Inhale, exhale, drag back from the ribs. Let's do it again. And now we don't have to hold quite as much, but I would like you to take a breath in between, or like a break, right? A beat, to recheck in, make sure that you weren't dragging in from your back, that you were keeping your shoulder down, pulling your ribs back, your hip follows. And then that opposite inner thigh can kick on. So knees go to, say, the left. And when you're dragging them back with your right oblique, that left inner thigh kicks on. We get one more each side. Good. And come back. Go ahead, bring your feet down, take the prop, set it to the side, And we're going to grab our TheraBand. So first, just bring your foot into the center of the TheraBand. And you can wrap your hands and just let your elbows come down. Now, maybe this is where you are, and that's fine. Maybe your hamstring is like a little like tight, in which case that's okay. Just add a little bit of tension to help hold it in place. If you'd like more stretch, extend your other leg. Now, using the band to kind of suction cup the thigh bone into the socket, we're going to tick-tock the foot across the body a little bit and then out to the side. Now, if you go into a huge range of motion and you kind of drop into it, come out of it 5%. Your muscles will do way more work if you come out of your end range 5%. In fact, I'd like you all to try it. So let that leg drop into its end range. And now lift the foot just a little, hold there. More exciting, right? And then try the opposite way. And then, yeah. And so it's just a matter of trying to find muscular control as opposed to quote unquote hanging out in our ligaments, right? One more each side. Come back to center. And then push the foot away from you, the foot will lower, and then let it fold in the socket as it lifts. Now, if you have excitable hip flexors, a couple things you can do is one, point on the way down and then flex on the way up. Think about the thigh bone sinking rather than the leg lifting. And if you need to, you can use your biceps to help that leg come up, right? We have two more. Last one. Now, keeping your hips still and stable. They're not going to lift. You can try lifting them a couple times and then plant them. We're going to bring our foot across our body. Hold. Push it down. Out to the side. Up and across. So think of making like a square shape. Right? Yeah. Now, if you want, you can just smooth out those corners and make a little circle. But if for any reason you feel popping, clicking, or anything uncomfortable, don't go into that range. Last one. Now we reverse. We're going to start with the square. Take it out to the side. Push it down. Bring it across and then up. Right? Once again, the band should help you here. It doesn't need to necessarily be a big move, right? If knee bent and a small movement is what feels good in your hip joint, stick with that. If this big square feels good, or even the small square feels good, and you want to try smoothing out the edges and turning it into a circle, great. But if that creates any popping, clicking, grinding, or discomfort, guess what? Maybe that's not for your body today. Stick with what feels good. We have two more. Last one. Now bend the knee. We're going to cross the band. So you've just got a little support with that foot. And we have options here. So go ahead, bend the knee so the foot is pushing out. That leg is in tabletop. Think of that thigh bone connecting to your ribs. And you're going to push your foot into the band, finding that deep abdominal connection, and then fold it in. And push. You might also feel a little bit more hamstring here, yeah? And then on the way in, use the band to help soften through the front of the hip, okay? So it's hamstring, glute, abs, and then resist a little with the hamstring and glute as opposed to pulling from the hip flexor, yeah? Everybody feel that ease of motion through the front of the leg, hopefully? Good. Now you can stick with this, no problem. Or you can bring your hands behind your head and come into a chest lift. Yeah, wonderful. So you'll have to bring your elbows through the door. Yeah. So, yep, almost. Okay, Bhatia. Yeah, hands on the outside. Go ahead, sweep so your hands are up, elbows through the door. Yep, yeah, and then press, yeah. Nice. Couple more here. And then if you're ready, rotate towards the leg, yeah, as it comes in. Nice. Notice how the band can actually help you rotate a little bit freer. 3, 2, last 1. Nice job. Head comes down. We're going to extend that foot, slide the other foot in, and hold there for a second. Now, wrap your hands up, shoulder blades draw down your back. Think about your back muscles as you bend your elbows out to the side. And then let your hands come back, shoulder blades draw down, bend the elbows, and back. Couple more. Think about your collarbones widening. If your shoulder blade or your humeral head pop off the floor, don't bring the elbows out as wide. If you need more tension, that's fine. Keeping those ribs nice and set. 2 more. Last one. Go ahead, take the leg that we just had in the band out, and you can slide it on out. We're just seeing where our hamstring is. And we get to tick-tock. And tick-tock. And then once again, try to keep both hips down for this. And on this one, just find your end range and then lift out of that end range 5% so you can really feel those muscles. Okay. Doing okay, Stephanie? Yep. Okay. Yeah. Shoulders can be relaxed, elbows heavy. Good. Just a couple more. And notice if your body starts responding to this end range differently each time, right? Maybe you start to get more freedom of motion in that hip joint, hopefully. Maybe you don't, in which case that's also fine. And then come back. And all we're gonna do, push the foot away from you. It'll lower, and then let the thigh bone fold as it comes back, right? Thigh bone folds. Now, everybody's hamstring flexibility is different, right? So maybe yours is here. Is that okay? Yes, yes, it is. Maybe you can get it really high, but your knee bends. In which case I would say, go to the point where you can mostly keep your knee straight. Doesn't have to be perfectly straight. Couple more. Last one. And now we get to do our little square shape. So whichever direction you want to start, take it across, push it down, out, up. Right? So once again, keep it in a range that feels good and easy in that hip, okay? So if you feel anything suboptimal in that hip joint in any range, stay out of it. Now, if you want, you can always start smoothing the edges, turning it into a circle. But if when you turn it into a circle, all of a sudden something changes, keep it where it feels good. We have 2 more. And then we get to reverse it. And just take it out. Nice. This should feel free and easy and delightful. And then if you want, circle. Hip circles are almost always part of Pilates classes. But for me personally, I need the assistance of the band in order for it to feel good in my hip joint. So maybe that's you too. Or maybe hip circles always feel fantastic. Right? Last one. And then we bring it back. All right, we're gonna tighten up our grip, bend the knee. The thigh bone's going to connect to your ribs and just start to push into the band and then allow it to fold. And push and let it fold. Now, if that hip flexor is like, I want to do the work, once again, you can always use your bicep here to help cue a little bit, right? So as you bend the knee, you just bend the elbows as well. Sometimes thinking of the thigh bone gently sinking in the socket rather than pulling the knee in can help. And if this is where you are today, fantastic. Otherwise, we get to slide our hands down, flip the palms up, bring the elbows together, up and through the door, and you can come into your chest lift. If you need to keep the head down, that's great. You try to use the band to help you find that connection to your hamstring, your abs. And then if you're excited about it, you get to rotate. If you're not excited to rotate, you don't have to. Good. So you push out, you rotate towards the knee as it comes in, and then back to center as it presses out. Good. Few more. Good. 3, 2. Try to maintain the height of your chest. Last one. Yeah. Good. Bring that knee in. Extend the leg up. Slide the other foot in. Good. Now, I like to have it crossed, but that's up to you. We're going to now have our shoulder blades down, and instead of bending the elbows, we're still going to use the back of our shoulder, keep the arms wide, press the hands out. If you feel this in your pec, relax the shoulder blade down, keep the collarbones wide. We're trying to find the back. And we have 4, 3, 2 more. And last 1. Hands come forward. Push your feet away from you so they slowly lower to the ground. Yeah, good. Head is down, hands are down. We get to inhale, come into our chest lift. Exhale, curl forward. Yeah, good. Now we are going to do some roll-ups. If you need a pad for your roll-ups, great. Go ahead and grab it. Now let's just for fun, push the band out to the side just a little bit with our glutes. So feet apart just a little bit. Yeah, good. Now curl your tailbone. Now if you're like, oh, I'm gonna fall, grab up higher on the band. And then on the way up, if you're like, oh man, I can't do this, bend your elbows. Yeah, shoulders down though. So use biceps and abs, not neck and shoulder. Yeah, deal? Good. Glad we had this talk, everyone. Good. Nice. Use your breath. Better. Yep. Good. 2 more. Huh? Oh, yeah. Last one like this. Yeah. And we curl. When you're ready, we get to come up. Now, oh, good. If you need your knees bent, that is okay. We're going to roll part of the way back. And of course, we have this prop. So if at any point you're like, I would like this behind my back, you can use it. No problem. So we're going to curl back, shoulder blades draw down. Whether you have your knees bent or legs extended is up to you. Think about your ribs pulling back, belly button in, folding over your ribs. Yeah. Keep that fold. We pull back. Nancy, this feel familiar? Yeah. Exhale. Good. Stephanie, shoulders draw down to full. Yeah. Yeah, okay. I would tuck your tailbone slightly or fold over your ribs. There. Good. Yeah. Nice strong wrists. Good. So shoulder blades draw down your back. Yeah. Hold there. So do you feel how your wrists are doing this? Keep them a little bit stronger. Yeah. Yeah. And then think of your back trying to help. Good. Beautiful, everybody. And Batya, just fold over your ribs a little bit. Yep. I know it's so much harder. I'm sorry. Yeah. So you might need a lighter band. The other thing is if you're up here, it's gonna be shoulder. So you'll have to bring your shoulders down, elbows down. You could also do it without a band. And hold. Now we can bring one arm forward. Bring that arm back, and then the other arm comes forward. Now when we're back here, we're like straight ahead, and as that arm comes forward, we rotate. Yeah. Yeah, arms. 2. Last one like this. Now, all we're gonna do, extend the arms. Think about one elbow pulling back, and that's what rotates us. So instead of the arm pulling forward to rotate, now the elbow pulling down and back, right? So if we just think about it going back, it's like we have the opportunity to have that humeral head come forward and anteriorly translate. So think more about elbow down and gliding. Yeah, we have one more each side, unless you need a break, in which case take one. Hands come forward and you come forward. Nice. And yeah, it's so fun. All right, so now we're gonna roll it down, slide both feet in, lift your chest, push your feet away, and oh, teaser. Yeah. And then we come back down. So if you're like, this is impossible, man, you don't have to come into a full teaser. Yeah, with the band, it's so much easier, right? Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's nice with the band because our hamstrings get a little bit of assist. Our arms can help us. It's not just, either abs and or hip flexors, right? Yeah. But if you're like, man, teaser's still too much for me, you can always just have your hands behind your thighs, push in, and hold here. No problem. I'll show it again. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's not. Last one. Good. Now, if you're feeling excited about teaser 2, you take the arms overhead, feet down, and then they come up. Only go into a range that your shoulder and back are okay with. Good, we have 3. You could also just stick with roll-ups. 2, yep. Abs on, Nancy, you okay? Yeah, last 1, and we come all the way down. Hug your knees toward your chest. Oh, we're not done with abs, but almost. We're going to actually take our TheraBand and we're going to tie it kind of tight around our feet with a little, well, not that tight. Give it a little bit of space and a little baby bow because you're a gift and you deserve to be treated as one. All right, so I'm going to scoop. I mean, you could do a knot, but it's harder to get out. Yeah, above. Correct. Yeah. Yeah. So when you're ready, hands on your shins. Use your glutes to kind of press sideways. And then you can press into your hands so your hamstrings kick on a little. Hands come behind our head. And you have the option of curling forward into your chest lift. If you're like, man, I want my head down, no problem. I'll show both ways. So you're going to push one foot away, let it fold in, other side. So you've got a little bit of glute and hip flexor on the stabilizing side, and you have hamstring and glute and ab on that extended side, right? Are we what? Doesn't really matter. Yeah. Yeah. And breaks are great. Feel free to take them. And then if you're ready, you can rotate and then rotate. Yeah, a little crisscross. And if you want more excitement, try to get your opposite elbow to your knee and press into it for a second. And press. That's why it's just an option and not mandatory. The pressing into is so exciting. That's okay. I think if you brought your knee in closer to you, yeah, there, that's better. You're closer. Last one each side. And then bring your head down, feet up. Now, think about those glutes are going to push into the band, press into the band. Good. Just for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then bring the band a little closer together. Hands can come back behind your head. You push down with one foot. It's not going to go as far. Push down with the other. Good. You can also just continue to press out. However, the down gets that quad a little bit more work. We have 2. Last set. Hug everything in and rock from side to side. Yeah. Go ahead and come on up to a seated position. Now, we have a bunch of different ways that we can sit for this. If you can be on your knee, that would be a great way, but I'm going to show a couple different ways. Now, especially if you're at home, if it's not comfortable to sit on the floor, you can always sit on a chair. You can also always come onto your knees. So if you're seated in your crisscross applesauce position, you're going to definitely have to use your hand to hold the band. If you're on your knees, you can trap it with your knee instead. That's it. So go ahead, wrap your hand so you have the tiniest bit of tension. Good. Yeah, that's fine. And thinking of your deltoid, so this muscle, not this muscle, we're gonna let that shoulder be nice and heavy. Elbows come slightly out to the side, not quite as high. There. Now, keeping a nice strong wrist, we exhale, rotate the arm back, hold. We're trying to find that rotator cuff. Bring your elbow forward a little. Yeah, and then relax your neck. Yeah. And then slowly. I know you will. I'm just seeing. Good. And then we exhale. Good. Kyle, you can also do this without the band if your shoulder doesn't like it. Huh? Yeah, so do the side that's bugging you without the band. Yeah, so and instead of retracting, keep your elbow stationary and think about it pointing forward a little bit. Yeah, so we're trying to find rotator cuff, right? So the back of our scapula, try not to crunch. Lengthen through your right side. Yep. So we're trying to find the back of our scapula, the back of our deltoid a little bit, even though that's not technically rotator cuff. Shoulder blade draws down, elbow points forward. It is hard because there's small muscles that aren't always point the elbow forward. Yeah. And maybe don't go as far. Keep your wrist nice and strong. Only go as far as your body allows. Better. Yeah. 2 more. Does that feel okay in your shoulder? Last 1. Nice. All right, now we're going to flip that palm up. Same side. I'm just waiting. Relax the shoulder. Now think of having a little serving tray. You're going to keep the elbow in without crunching it. You're just going to let the thumb point back. Yeah. Now if the elbow slides back, try to point it forward and then slowly come back. So you can also take your opposite hand, place it directly underneath your elbow, and keep the elbow right on the same place. Right? Yeah, good. Now it's like a lazy Susan. Okay. 2 more. Good. Try not to crunch. Yeah, there you go. Last 1. Other side. Now the good news is the other side might feel better. Not every side is going to feel exactly the same. So we're still relaxing through our neck. We're using our deltoid as we slide that elbow out. Now, for example, I can't get up as high and keep like form. So I'm going to keep my elbow a little lower. That's okay. Nice strong wrist. Yeah. And then exhale, point the elbow forward. Rev a motorcycle with your knuckles. Yeah. And then keep that motorcycle as you like point the elbow towards me. Other direction. Yeah. Yes. And then slowly lower. So we're resisting gravity on the way down, right? With that posterior shoulder, we're resisting. And then exhale, we overcome. Yeah. And then, hey, everybody, think about your deep abdominals stabilizing you, glutes stabilizing you. Yeah. How does that feel? A little bit better with the deep abs and glutes? Yeah. Use your breath, shoulder relaxed out of your ear. Yeah, so do you feel how you're kind of pulling up to get there? Elbow stays on, like, imagine you have like a couch that you've just rested your elbow on. It's going to stay there. Yeah, better. Last one. And slowly come on down. Now, we flip the palm up. Think about that lazy Susan, right? Just going to bring it out. Now, maybe you've got a bunch of rotation on one side and not so much on the other. That's okay. Don't fight it. Now, I'm missing rotation on this side. So my instinct is to try to retract as opposed to rotate. But that engages different muscles. So if you have one side that doesn't have as much rotation, Accept that, hold it at the end range, just inhale, exhale, see if you can engage a tiny bit more. And maybe you can, maybe you can't, that's okay. If you are also lacking range on one side, sometimes mirroring with the other side can help your nervous system know what it's doing. Make sure your elbows don't pull back, Stephanie. Elbows point forward, yeah. Yeah. Good. 2 more. Good. Think about the upper arm bone spiraling, right? It's not even so much about the hands as the upper arm bone. Nice job, you guys. It's gonna feel so good. We're gonna lie on our side. Put the ball as a little pillow. Now go ahead, lift your bottom ribs as if you were trying to slide a sheet of paper underneath you. Top hip lengthens away from your face and slide slightly forward. Now, if you're in like a really good tabletop, that's great. You can also bring your heels back in line with your sits bones. Keeping your hip bone pointing forward, we're just coming into a clamshell and back down. So we're spiraling the thigh bone in the socket. Good. Now, if you have tension in the front of your hip and you can't get a big range, say you feel stuck, one thing you can do is lift your feet. So you start in that internal rotation so you can actually access for a larger range of motion, okay? And then you can try it down, see where it goes. But it's not about like, can I get my knee to the sky as much as can I just spiral my thigh bone in the socket like I'm screwing in a light bulb from the glute, good, with the hip bone pointing forward, good. Roll your top hip bone forward a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, nice. Feel more glute? Good. 2. Last one. Now, we're gonna hold it up and just hold for 5. Hold for 4. How's that feeling, everybody? So good? Hold for 3. Hold for 2. And 1. The knee can come down, and then we're going to abduct, which means take away from the body. But hold it and then glance. If your foot is higher than your knee, see if you can bring them a little bit more in line, and then slowly come down. And then exhale, same thing. Hold, check it out. Make sure that you're not in an internally rotated position, and back down. Few more. Nice job, everybody. How's that feeling? Great. Good. We have 2. Last one. Hold it up. Good. Flex the foot. Push the foot away, away, away. So much so that it causes your bottom ribs to lift. Lift your bottom ribs. Lower your foot a little. Push it more towards them. There you go. Now, let the foot dangle, relaxed. And we bring it down, push it away. Yeah, and down. Nice. Slightly behind, yeah. Good. Rotate your top hip bone forward a little, and then bring your foot back. Yeah, keep it back. Yeah, is that more back here? Good. 3, 2. Last one, you're going to rotate your body forward. Drag the leg back a little bit more. Keep it back, tiny circles. 5, 4, keep your belly button in. 3, 2, and reverse. And relax. Now push yourself into like kind of the side sitting position. Bring your knees into a little pinwheel shape. Now, if you feel like tightness in parts, just be aware tightness is okay. If you feel something weird in the joint, don't go into that range. So all we're gonna do is rotate forward, come forward into a little glute stretch, press yourself up, think about that hip coming down, rotate towards that front leg, coming into a little bit of internal rotation. And then external rotation, bring it up, and then we rotate slightly for that internal rotation. Good. Almost there. Just trying to get a little bit more movement through our hip joint. Last one. Good. Now bring the same side hand as front leg down. We get to side bend and back up. Little mermaid. Now this is great. You can stick with this. Or you can also press into that leg, lift the hips, and then slowly come down. Yeah. Press into your hand too. Yeah, you can. Yeah, boom. Try not to side bend quite as quickly. So if you're already side bending and then trying to lift, so push first to help lift you and then side bend. Yeah. Good, just the timing. Yeah. 2. First one never counts, right? You're just finding, yeah. Last one. And then we get to do the other side. Yay, other side. So go ahead, head down, lift your bottom rib, slide that hip away from your face. Maybe you're in this tabletop position. Maybe you slide your heels in line with your sits bones. Then we rotate. Try to keep the hip bones pointed towards each other. And if you're like, oh man, I can't access this glute as easily, or I don't have as much range, you can always start with the legs in internal rotation, so the feet are elevated. Or maybe you stay there the whole time. Maybe you start there, and once you're like, okay, I got this, then you try it with the feet down, right? It's up to you and your body, right? Maybe you did a crazy hard Pilates class yesterday. Maybe you went for a hike. Maybe you sat on the couch a lot, right? No matter what we do the day before, our body tells that story, right? So if you're like, ooh, my hips are really tight today, why? Maybe you sat doing a puzzle with your family yesterday, I don't know. So don't fret, don't worry, don't judge, just be aware. We have just a couple more. 3, 2, last one. And then we get to A, B duck. So take the leg away and then hold at the top. Make sure that if your foot is above your knee, you lift the knee more, foot down a little so it's more even, and then back down. Hey, Kyle, stick your tail feathers back a little bit and then let your knee come up just a little bit higher. Hold. Do you see how high your foot is? Yeah, knee up a little. Yeah, there you go. Good. Few more. 4. How's that glute feeling, everybody? Good? Yeah. Nice. And I would actually stick your tail feathers back a little, stick your butt out a little. Stick your butt out a little. Other direction. Yeah. Like this. So look at me. Boom. Yeah. And then keep your knee just a little bit higher. Yeah. So glance at your foot. Bring your foot. Yeah, there you go. Does that feel a little different? A little bit. Good. Yeah. Now you're going to extend the leg, push it out so far that the bottom rib lifts, hip lengthens, and then let that foot dangle. We lower it, brush it away. Good. Top hip bone forward, Nance. Yeah. Good. Hey, Kyle, at that end range, when your foot comes up really high, temper it 5%, bring your heel back in space more, push your foot away from you more rather than up. Not up to the sky, towards the air purifier. There you go. Nice. 3, 2, last one. Nice job. We're gonna rotate away. And we do little circles. Bring that leg back in space a little bit more. Little baby circle. 5, 4, 3, 2, and we reverse. Good. And then we're just going to push ourselves into our little pinwheel shape. If you feel tightness, just be aware. Sometimes you can kind of push into that muscle, just tell it to relax. We're going to rotate forward, get a little bit of glute stretch, and then rotate back, get a little bit of that internal rotation, as long as it feels okay, right? Yeah. Yeah. It's really interesting how each side can feel so vastly different. You know? Now, if for any reason it doesn't feel okay on your knee, you don't have to be in this shape, right? Last one. And back. And then come back to center. We're just going to do a little mermaid. And back. And then if you want, push in, drive your hips up, and then side bend. Hey, Kyle, thanks for joining us. Happy holidays. Press down and lift. And back down. Good. 2 more. We're almost done, you guys. Last one. We're just going to come onto all fours real quickly. Okay. Now, you can be on your hands or your forearms. We're just going to slide one foot out, push into the floor, slide the other foot out to your plank. Yep. Now, if this is like, oh, I don't feel like lift your hips for me, up, up. Yeah. So instead of being down here, I want you up, higher. Yeah, there you go. Good. Now, maybe you're on your knees, maybe you're full plank, and you can bend one knee, reach it out, other side, or you can stay where you are. Or you can be on hands and knees and just extend one leg behind you. Okay? Either one is great. We have 3, 2, last one. Knees down, untuck your toes, walk your hands slightly forward, shoulders down, tuck your tailbone, squeeze your glutes, and come into a little bit of upper back extension. So if your hips are sinking down, you tuck, you push away. It's all about your upper body. And then around, again, so you tuck your tailbone, open your collarbones. Good. If you're like, oh, I feel my lower back, I need you to push the floor away, lift your belly button, and then round your back. Last one, keep your lower back rounded. Good. And then we push ourselves all the way back into our child's pose. Hands come up and over to one side, push your hips away. Other side. Come all the way to standing, however you need to. And we roll up. Now, we're just going to end with the tiniest bit of balance work. So before we do our balance work, I want you to close your eyes and just take a second and feel your feet underneath you. And then visualize or kind of feel in space where your head is, your face, your ears, your neck, your shoulders, your arms, your wrists, fingertips, your rib cage, your waistline, your stomach, your back, your hips, your thighs, your calves, your feet. And then if that feels pretty good and easy, either bring one foot in front of the other, keeping your eyes closed, or lift one foot up. Two more breaths. And then bring the other foot down if the foot is up. You can either switch that tightrope, or you can lift that foot. Just keep kind of feeling or visualizing where the outline of your body is. Breathe. And then hands are going to flip up, feet down, open your collarbones to the sky. Slide your shoulders up to your ears, drop them straight down. Give yourselves a round of applause. Nice work today. Thank you so much for joining me. Happy holidays, you guys.